All right, hi again, everybody. I'm Ryan Roberts, and we are here to talk with Francesco Giussani, who is one of the 5 bassoon finalists for the Gillet-Fox competition this year. And I'm just going to wait for him to join here. We just had a nice conversation with Felipe Castro, who was another one of the finalists. And that is now on our IGTV channel, so check it out. And I actually just saw Francesco's name pop up down there. There we go. Give us just one second.
Hello?
There we go. Hello.
Hello. Can you
How
hear
are
me?
you?
Oh, fine, thanks. You?
Very well. I can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect.
Great.
Sorry, I'm not so the Instagram guy.
That's okay. This was my first Instagram live just 30 minutes ago with Felipe Castro, who's one of your
Okay.
other 5
I,
finalists.
I listened. I was listened to.
Great. Thanks for tuning in. So let's jump right in. I'll have you introduce yourself first for everybody.
Yeah, I'm Francesco from Italy, next to Bergamo, in the near north of Italy. But I'm living in Basel and playing in Freiburg, so I'm always moving, but still okay. Starting with Sergio Zollini, and it's nice to be here, actually.
Thanks. And I am Ryan Roberts. I play oboe and English horn with the New York Philharmonic, and I was in the Young Artist competition 2 years ago now, in 2018. The little brother or little sister of the big boy, big girl Gillet-Fox competition.
Perfect. Nice to meet you.
Great. So let's jump right in here. So I see here that you are from Italy, as you mentioned, but you where did you study? Where are you now? One more time, just for anyone who just joined.
And now, right now, I live in Basel. I'm actually studying in Basel because of the virus. The school postponed our recital, our final recital, in beginning of September. But I should have been done actually with the
Got it.
studying, and I was studying in Freiburg too. Actually, I met Giovanni a long time ago, the other finalist. We studied a bit together.
Oh wow, great.
Diego Kenna, yeah. And yeah, in Basel, I was playing this year in Freiburg. Not so much because always of the virus. It was kind of hard, but we did it
Yeah.
for as long as we could, and we keep it.
And from what I hear, Basel is doing quite well with the virus. How are things where you are? Is it?
Yeah, Bergamo was the worst place in Italy actually where the virus was, but we
it's
got
on the
lucky.
upswing?
Yeah, no, Basel was okay. Now is everything okay in Italy too? Here, I'm in Italy right now, and it's okay. It's okay. We had luck that nobody gets sick, but was really quite of dramatic here.
Yeah, and now where I am in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
California, is just about the worst
Yeah.
place to be. So I'm staying inside. But anyway, no need to talk
Yeah.
more about the coronavirus because I'm sure that everybody is sick of hearing about it at this point.
It's quite famous.
Yes, infamous, you could say. So let's get to some music.
Yeah.
What made you decide to play the bassoon of all instruments?
I was playing saxophone. I started with I was 4 years old, and at the age of 13, I asked my father if I could go to conservatory to study music. But in Bergamo there is no saxophone class, so I was choosing between clarinet and bassoon. My father plays oboe, so he say, "Let's
I'm
keep
terribly
it."
sorry for you.
Yeah, okay. I can do nothing with it. And he say, "Well, let's keep it in double rate." So I met actually my first teacher in Bergamo. He will be my first teacher, and he gave me 3 CDs of Klaus Thunemann Vivaldi concertos. And then I make my family crazy because I was just listening Vivaldi concerto played by Thuremann for all the summer, and then I decide I want to play bassoon, and away we go.
There you go. And it's so funny, actually. I, as you know, was just speaking with Felipe, who also, I guess he didn't start with the saxophone, but his original intention was that he wanted to play the saxophone. Is that a common path for bassoonists? Do a lot of bassoonists start on saxophone?
I heard a lot of bassoonists that start actually with saxophone. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but actually a lot of bassoonists start with saxophone, and I don't know, maybe it's the sound that I really don't know, but it's really common that it's happening.
Yeah.
For example, Diego Kenna start with flute, but a lot of bassoonists actually I know play also saxophone and bassoon.
And when you were 4 years old, was it soprano sax only, or what?
I cannot show you because we sold it 2 years ago, but it was carved soprano saxophone because I couldn't have. I had small,
a little tiny,
like this, and yeah, but it was just saxophone. Then I grew up a bit and was contralto too, alto saxophone, but it was just really tiny saxophone.
And what?
The only thing I could play.
And what made you decide on saxophone when you were 4? Was it something that was just handed to you, or because I can't say that I know any 4-year-old saxophone players. I don't think I've ever met one in my life.
Yeah, it wasn't that good. I mean, 4-year-old child is not playing like. But I come from a musician family, so my uncle has a little band for amateurs that play sometimes like banda is called. And once I was there and I heard tenor saxophone playing, I say I want to play this. It was just like I wanted this and it was like play saxophone.
Great. Well, between oboe, bassoon, and saxophone, it must be a very noisy household.
Yeah, it still is actually, but it still is. But our neighbors are okay. They know that it's nice. Music is always nice.
And is there a pianist somewhere in your family to complete the Poulenc trio or France trio or?
No. My other uncle is trombone player.
Okay.
My father oboe and the other uncle is conductor. No piano. We stay on wind players.
Yeah, conductor and trombone. I'm not sure how helpful that could be for a chamber ensemble with oboe and bassoon. But is there anything for trombone, oboe, and bassoon that you know of?
No, actually not. But we arrange something. We can always play it together. It's always nice. But
good.
Or composer is listening opportunity to do it. Oh,
sorry, I just got a phone call and it just cut out for 1 second.
Okay.
But the next thing I wanted to ask you. So I know we sort of mentioned this briefly at the very beginning, but now that we have a few more people listening, tell us one more time just where you are now and where you studied and also who you studied with.
So I start at the age of 13. Now I'm in Basel with Sergio Solini. I'm actually done with the master performance, it's called. And it's actually a really nice experience that I would say to every person, take time to go at least 1 year with Sergio because it's really worth it. And I was studying before in Freiburg with Diego Kenna. We know each other from Italy already. He invited me to study with him in Freiburg because it's actually also a really nice experience. He's a big musician. He won in 98, I think, the first prize in IDRS Gillet-Fox competition, and he's really good bassoonist, and it's really great, actually. And in Italy, he was with Giorgio Versilia in Bergamo, and he's also a great teacher. I mean, So we spent 6 wonderful years together, and then it's really, really big. I think I couldn't desire the best because there are really 3 amazing teachers and 3 amazing bassoonists.
Great. And what made you want to enter the competition? Was it that your teachers had in the past, or what drew you to the competition in the first place?
This is my second time.
Okay.
I was also in the final in 2016 in Columbus, and yes, actually yes, it was Diego who told me, "Why don't you actually do this competition? It's amazing." I knew it before, but I never trust. So, and he say, "Look, you do the recording, you try." You practice a lot because you have to practice a lot, of course. And it went good. So this time I want to do it again because it's the last competition I can do. And it's too bad that we don't do the final because on the last time that they do the competition, it's not final, but it's okay. But of course, it's still a big goal to be one of the 5.
Mm-hmm. And before you entered the first time, had you been physically? Had you been to any of the IDRS conferences in the past, or was that your first? Was Columbus, Ohio, your first one?
In Columbus was my first time.
Mm-hmm. And
because
then,
always
in the years in between, did you go to any of the IDRS conferences?
I was trying to go to Granada, but I couldn't make it because it was like crazy times in the time I was starting a job, and then I really want to go because never happens that it's in Spain. My girlfriend is come to Spain. Sevilla is not so far away, so we actually thought about, but it was we didn't have time. But we really wanted to go. Yeah, we'll see next time. We'll be there, of course.
And in terms of repertoire, had you worked on the repertoire from the competition before, or how much of it was new repertoire for you?
I love the repertoire of this competition. Actually, when I saw it, I say, "Okay, love it." I didn't knew the one sonata. I think it was Lens sonata. It wasn't in the recording. It was just in the final round. The rest I already played. Starting with Sergio has his benefit, so he gave me all the sonata of Bertoli and the manuscript. It was unreadable, but we didn't already manage the style, and the music was asked. And the solo piece Nigun I had played in many times before.
Great.
So it actually was really great. I really enjoyed this kind of repertoire because I love and Rossini concerto, of course. I love Italian, really Italian concert.
Yeah. Something I was talking about with Felipe also that I think is especially relevant now is recording. You know, it's such a challenge to get a nice, true sounding recording of yourself. And now that concerts in person are not really an option for a lot of the world, tell us a little bit about your recording process, making that recording for the preliminary round.
It wasn't easy because I didn't have time. I made the recording in 3 hours for the 2 pieces because I was playing in the orchestra, and I didn't have so much time because I was always traveling and spend all the day in Freiburg and come back, go at 8 a.m. and come back at midnight, and practicing there in theater, try to find good reads. And I have the whole just for 3 hours, so I have to manage as good as possible. So it's of course it's always difficult. I asked a friend of mine, is sound engineer, is amazing, and he's managed all the microphones and stuff. So I need only to think about music and rehearsal with the piano and the cembalist. only think about music. But of course, the focus when pardon, for such a recording, and you have not so much time, like 3 hours a year. The most important thing is the focus, the concentration, and you have this time, and you have to make it. It's just like it's like when I do recordings, I focus like I'm playing a concert.
Mm-hmm.
Just give, yeah, okay, you can record more times, the same things, but just playing every time like it is the last.
Yeah.
Take all the risks, and then it's come the best recording, I think.
I think that's great advice. I'm having flashbacks to my recording, my recording experience for when I did the competition. And there was one evening, the only room I could get, this was when I was still a student, was the big orchestra hall. It was the only room that sounded really great, but it was only available like right at midnight. And I remember there was one night that I went there and I was halfway through a take and my music stand fell. It was just not oiled properly or something.
Yeah.
It fell, and every reed that I had made for the competition was sitting on the edge of the music stand, and the whole thing just tipped backwards, and they all just shattered on the ground. And that was, yeah. There's more challenges with recording than anyone can possibly anticipate, I think.
Yeah, of course. But another advice is do it. Do as many recordings yourself as much as possible. I say this because in the quarantine, during the months, I never did it before. I mean, I never record myself, and so practicing and stuff like that. But I did it in the last month, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really helpful. Record yourself, then leave it for some days, and then listen again. You learn really, really, really a lot. It's I think the best way for practice.
Yeah, I completely agree. I also have started recording myself recently, and I think it's interesting that you say leave it for a few days and then revisit it. Can you tell us a little bit more about why you think that's a good idea?
Because when you're playing, you have some ideas in your head, some musical ideas, some sound idea, and in the day after, you are still thinking about it. So if you leave it for some days, what you listen is much real, is more realistic than if you listen immediately.
Yeah.
And then you can really learn much more about the sound, intonation, and stuff that when we're playing, we imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And it maybe is different in what is coming out of the instrument. At least what's my experience.
I completely agree. And I also think that anything, as we are making music live while we're recording ourselves, any little tiny, whether it's an attack or an intonation thing or any little issue seems to kind of ping in our head and we remember it. And so a lot of times when you listen to a recording right afterwards, that's the only thing you can hear is all of the stuff that you remember going back, from the live performance. But like you said, if you leave it for a few days, there's a bigger sense of clarity, and those little details aren't so fresh.
Yeah, of course. But not just also the music, the phrase that you're playing. You think about something and it's like you're hearing it, but maybe it's not. And you have to leave it for some days, not months, like 3 days. And then you realize what is coming really out of the instrument and what is not. Yeah. And it's helped a lot. It's really helped a lot. Yeah.
So my next question for you is how do you think this competition has affected your career in any way, whether it's musically or in a more practical sense?
I think it's when you achieve such such a big things like this competition or other competition like ARD or Prague or competition. IDRS is one of the big competitions. Was the three IDRS, Prague, and ARD. You understand where you are. I think for yourself. I never think the competition is like, okay, I win the competition. I'm the big guy. No. The first thing is music and what you can learn in your life that make your music better. And I think when you achieve some goal like this, you know where you are. You know how you work. You practice a lot, and say, okay, now I'm here. I achieved this competition. It means something. I know that I can play at this level. So what's next? What I can learn from this practicing, what I can do better for the next years, for during your entire life. Is never stop. It's competition, okay, but you just never stop practicing as a musician. There's always something new that you have to learn.
And so what is next for you? What are your goals? What's in the future?
Oh, I'm really waiting for it because because I always love Asian music. I always love Asian music, and now I'm starting with it. I'm trying Baroque bassoon right now that I got for a friend, and it's an original one from 1779.
Wow!
And I'm really waiting for it. It's like I'm ultra excited about it, and it's something new. Of course, there's always new about reeds, about how approach music. There's always new. Once I heard an oboe player, not so famous, called Maurice Bourg.
Never heard of him.
And say, I'm now that I'm start to playing like I want. I'm almost too old. Almost, you say almost. But yeah. It never stop. As the beauty of the music is always something new, and you can always enjoy something new.
And with the Baroque bassoon, was this a project that you had in mind for a long time, or was it something that you decided now that you have more time? How did that come about?
Since I begin, I begin playing bassoon and say, in any time, I don't know when I will play Baroque bassoon. I have to do it. It's like a dream. It's for me, playing Asian music is something I will always enjoy. I don't know, it gives me that amazing feeling, when you really, you have nothing in mind and you start dreaming and playing the same time, and it's the same feeling.
Yeah.
And now I have this opportunity, and I will take it, of course.
And I have one last question for you. I loved this statistic that they gave me about the competition, and that's bassoonists in this year of the competition came from Austria, Canada, Chile, China, Costa Rica, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Russia, Switzerland, the UK, and the USA. And with all of that, international representation, what does it mean for you to be representing your country in this competition? Did you feel that in the back of your mind? Do you feel any weight on your shoulders, or?
Weight, no. I always try not to feel the weight on my shoulder when I'm playing, because I try to enjoy everything I play, in the difficult situation and the easy situation. I think is the wrong thinking for taking part of competition on any concert, even practicing. Is wrong. But yes, I'm really happy to represent my country in a big competition like this, of course. It's huge. It's a big pleasure because I'm not the only one, so we can share the weight with me and Giovanni this time.
Right.
But yeah, of course, it's big thing. It's a bit proud, of course. Like as Italian, also proud is always there.
All right, so the very last thing that I'll ask you before we wrap up in the last few minutes is what advice would you give young bassoonists who want to participate either in the Young Artist competition or in Gillet-Fox? What would you say to them?
Practice, 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 of course, because this is, I say, most important thing, but that doesn't mean that you have to only technical things. Learn also about the music. You have a repertoire is decided in the IDRS, and so deep really down in what you're playing. Know the music while practicing. Read really scores and take a deep look into what are you playing, so that when it comes to the recording or the final round, you can turn off your head and play by heart. So you know what you're doing. You have this kind of, I'm sure what I'm doing. I know I practice. I just have to play. So you don't have this kind of weight we were talking about before, that I have to do the recording, it has to be perfect. Play when you do the recording, and of course practice as good, as focused, as concentrate as possible before.
Great. Well, thank you
I
so
think this
much.
is the most important thing. Thank you too. It was a big pleasure.
Yes,
Fun.
lovely to meet you, and I look forward to hearing you and all the rest of the finalists live. Fingers crossed, hopefully live.
Yeah,
in next year's
be
conference.
positive.
And I wish you all the best. I hope you have a great rest of your summer.
Well, thank you very much. You too, and good things to everybody who was listening.
Yes, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you later.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.